Good evening, yogis. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga, and thank you for joining me for practice today. It is Friday. Hope you all have had a wonderful week and are ready to get started with a fun level 2 focus class today. Level 2 focus class, Vinyasa base, 60 minutes, and in our level 2, we usually get into some more of the advanced poses and movements in class. We'll be building off of what we've been working on this week, which is focusing on our peak pose, our pyramid pose. So hence the background here. I thought it would be fun to just kind of choose this week. Our pyramid pose, also the Sanskrit word Parsvottanasana, looks very simple, at least when I was first approaching it as a practitioner, and there's a lot to it. There's so many different variations, and so we've been kind of going through the different variations with the fundamental classes earlier this week and moving through level 1 on Wednesday. And level 2 will just be trying it again. We'll try and give it a shot in its most, I guess, original form, but I'll definitely provide some modifications along the way. And we'll still get a nice full workout and lots of movement, a couple holds, a little bit of external and internal rotation at the hips. So we'll be opening those up a little bit. But really, this is a chest opener and a hamstring stretcher and quadricep strengthener. So will definitely be the focus today. Oh, hi, Lori, and hi, Ellen. Thank you for checking in. Always nice to see your names pop up. As far as props for today, if you have blocks, they can come in handy um, for bringing the ground up closer to make things a little more accessible. So if you do have blocks, great. If not, don't worry. Not totally necessary, but if you do have them, just place them up at I'll say at the top of your mat for now. We'll come back to those later. And we'll get started in a seat. So you can choose whatever seat you'd like. You can sit cross-legged. You can sit, bottoms of the feet can come together with the knees out to the side. You can even sit on your heels with your toes curled under or uncurled. We'll just spend the first couple minutes settling into our practice, with just focusing on our breath and then starting to get into more of our movement. So choose a seat that works for you. Make sure you're nice and comfortable. If you ever have trouble sitting up straight, maybe with your sit bones on the floor, you can always roll up your mat or place a block or a towel underneath just to raise your spine up and allow you to sit up a little bit straighter. So just rest your palms on tops of your knees. Palms can face up, or you can bring your hands into the center of your chest, whatever you prefer. Try and create a nice long spine as you root your sit bones down, rise up through the crown of your head. Broaden the collarbones, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the navel just gently in and back. Try and draw the tailbone a little bit closer to the floor. And as we take a minute or two to settle in, you have the option to just either soften your gaze or close your eyes completely. Use this as a time to start your transitioning into your practice from the rest of your day, leaving that all behind, knowing that's in the past and you can't change any of it, and it's time to move forward and focus on the present. This next hour of class is for you. To kind of help you settle in, you can start focusing on your breath, noticing just how it naturally comes in to your body and how it exits. Maybe it comes in through the nose or the mouth. Same thing, noticing how it falls out, either through the nose or the mouth. Once you start to take notice, you can begin to deepen your breathing. So maybe by noticing how the air inhales and exhales, you also realize that maybe your inhales are a little bit shorter than your exhales or vice versa. But we now try to lengthen both of them. So lengthening your inhales when your air comes in, your chest rises, your ribs expand, collarbones expand. And when you exhale, You deeply and slowly just let everything fall out. Release everything out of the lungs. Let's just keep that up for another 3 or 4 deep breaths. Allowing your body and your mind to settle in. Let's take one more nice, slow, deep breath. And now just start to gently blink your eyes open if they were closed. And take note of your seat. If your legs are crossed, you can switch the crossing of your legs, bring the opposite shin in front. If you're seated on your heels and want to come into a cross-legged seat, you can do that, or you can just stay right where you are. Feel free to mix it up. We'll be seated for the next couple of minutes as well. We'll start to warm up the shoulders now. So let's release the arms down to the sides. Soften your shoulders down away from the ears. And here we go. Let's turn the palms out and inhale, raise the arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, turn the palms out and down, release them down to the sides. 3 more times, just like that. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, release the arms out and down. 2 more times. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead, soften those shoulders down. Exhale, release the palms out, arms down. 1 more time. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead. And exhale, palms out and release them down. Inhale them back overhead and hold there for a moment. We'll add a side lean. So let's release our right arm down. Either fingertips or palm come down to the mat or to a block. Inhale as you lengthen, send that left arm up to the sky. And exhale, side bend over the right. So keep that left sit bone rooted. We're holding just for a couple breaths here. You have the option to walk those fingertips out, walk the palm out, maybe just to increase your stretch here. But keep your bicep next to your ear. Maybe turn your neck to look up at those fingertips. Just keep your shoulder and your pelvis facing forward. Stay for one more breath. Let's come back to center. Inhale, bring both arms up overhead. And release the left arm down, either fingertips or palm to the mat. Inhale as you lengthen, send that right arm up to the sky. Exhale, side bend to the left this time. Again, keep that right sit bone rooted. Lengthen on both sides of the torso. Option to walk these fingertips out. Still giving you a little bit of support. Keeping that bicep next to the ear. If you'd like, you can turn your neck to look up at those fingertips. Just stay for one more breath with your chest facing forward. And let's inhale, come back up to center, both arms overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Let's just do a quick recap of internal and external rotation at the shoulders. So let's extend both arms out, palms face down. This is our neutral position here. So internal rotation, send the thumbs down, palms face back, and the pinkies are up. So we're rotating the entire arm from that shoulder socket. Now release back down to neutral. External rotation, opposite way. So now the thumbs come up, pinkies down, palms face forward. Maybe you can go a little bit further, palms face up. Gently release back down to center with the palms facing down. And let's do one more time. Internal rotation. So thumbs down, pinkies up, palms face back. Try and rotate that entire arm. And then gently release back down to center, palms face down. And then now externally rotate. Thumbs up, pinkies down, palms forward. Maybe go a little bit further, palms face up. And then gently release back to center and release the arms back down to your sides. Again, if you'd like, go ahead and switch your legs again or choose another way to sit or just stay right where you are. I'll be here for 2 more minutes, I think. So now raise the arms back up overhead, palms face each other. Let's just add a little bit of a twist here. So inhale as you lengthen, exhale, twist to your right. When you can't twist any further, release your arms down to the sides. Left arm to the outside of that right knee, and right arm behind you. You can start to walk that right arm back a little bit more. But try and initiate the twist from the navel, moving up your spine, with the neck being the last thing to turn. Maybe start to look over that right shoulder as it draws back. Staying for one more breath. And then inhale as you come back to center, bring both arms overhead, palms face each other, soften those shoulders down. And then exhale, turn to your left this time. When you can't turn anymore, release both arms down. Right palm to the outside of that left knee, left arm behind, maybe the fingertips walk back a little bit more. But again, start the twist from the navel, moving up the spine. Neck is the last thing to arrive. Looking over that left shoulder as it draws back for one more breath. And turn back to center. Inhale, both arms overhead. And exhale, hands down to your center and down to the sides. All right. So we've warmed up our shoulders a little bit. So in our pyramid pose, there is a traditional way that our arm posture is, and that is a reverse prayer pose. Reverse prayer pose can be a little tricky for some people to get into. It really requires a lot of mobility in the shoulders and the arms. So we have some variations, but if you want to work towards your reverse prayer pose, I'll just turn around just so you can see. It looks exactly as it sounds. So the different options that we'll work on just while we're in our seat here. First option is your reverse prayer pose. So your arms come behind, your shoulders go into an internal rotation, but the action is to still open them as an external rotation. So when the hands come behind, you place the palms together and you come into your reverse prayer pose here. Maybe if this isn't quite accessible, you can bring your hands to a fist and bring your fingertips to touch this way. Same thing, internal rotation at the shoulders for the position, but then the action is to broaden those collarbones. Now, if neither of those options work for you, some other options that we've worked on this week, you can clasp your fingers, bring the base of your wrist together, and straighten your arms down. Also, you can grab your opposite elbows. And finally, you can just bring your hands to your low back, fingers facing down. Either way, the elbows are drawing in. So just kind of play around with that, see which one works for you today. We'll have a couple different options or a couple different times we'll be able to move into those arm variations. So play around with it, see what works for you. Whatever one you choose, go ahead and choose which one you're going into now. Most likely your chest is puffing open, so we want to draw the navel in and back and try and breathe into those back ribs to create a nice long spine, reducing the arch that tends to happen in this low back, especially when our arms are bound. So take one more nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, let's release the clasp. Send your arms forward and let's come into tabletop. So we're moving on now, coming into tabletop. We'll come back to those arm variations. In our tabletop, we have our wrists below our shoulders, knees below our hips, tops of the feet to the mat. Fingers are nice and spread, hugging the navel in and up. Slight tuck of the chin, gazes up towards the top of the mat. Tops of the feet are gently pressing into the mat. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Let's add our cow cat. So add your cow by dropping your navel, tailbone lifts, heart comes forward, look up. Exhale as you round your back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy, cat pose. Reversing, inhale, drop the navel, tailbone lifts, heart forward, look up, cow pose. And exhale, round your back, tailbone tucks, head hangs heavy. Do two more times on your breath. Always good to warm up with some cat cows, warming up the entire spine here, and also allowing us to start connecting our breath to our movement. And once you've finished your last cat pose, just meet me back in a nice neutral spine. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Let's curl the left toes under, press the left heel back, and raise the left thigh up to hip height. Extend the right arm forward, pinky down, thumb up. So we have our arm and our leg balance here. Now hug the navel in and up, most likely that low back is sinking down. And try and spin the inner left thigh in and up towards the sky. Press the left heel back and extend forward through those right fingertips. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Back down to tabletop. We'll switch to the other side. So recenter yourself. Curl the right toes under. Extend and straighten the right leg back, lifting that right thigh up to hip height. And then extend the left arm forward. Fingers down, or pinky down, thumb up, palm facing in. So again, hug that navel in and up. Gaze is still up towards the top of the mat. And try and spin that inner right thigh in and up towards the sky. Press that right heel back, extend those left fingertips forward. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Left arm down, right knee down. Back into your tabletop. Okay, from your tabletop, coming into our gate pose. I'm just going to turn so you can see a little bit better here. So starting with the right leg, extend the right leg out to the side. Have the toes face out towards the right. Place the whole bottom of your foot down on the mat, and then walk your toes out to your capacity where your foot can still completely stay on the mat. Once you have that, walk your hands back, lift your torso up, and place your hands on your hips to start. So again, just check in here real quick. We're starting to open the hip here. We want that entire right foot on the mat. Try and stack your left shoulder, hip, and knee all in one line. And then maybe you walk those right toes out a little bit more. Moving to try and straighten this leg, but it doesn't need to be. Just make sure that entire foot is on the mat. Now release the right arm down. Just gently let it be on your right knee or right thigh. And then raise the left arm up to the sky. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, side bend over the right leg here. So just like when we were seated, we're side bending. We're keeping the shoulders and the pelvis neutral. So no twisting here. Just side bend over to the right. And now press down through that right big toe and try and draw this right knee up into the right hip. That starts to turn on this quadricep. Way to kind of protect the knee here. Try to keep that bicep next to the ear. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Have the option to turn your neck to look up towards those left fingertips. And stay for 1 more breath here. And inhale back to center. Bring both arms overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and down in front of you. Come back into your tabletop, bringing your right knee back underneath your right hip. Let's recenter, and then we'll move to the other side. So now extend the left leg out. So again, the left toes face directly out towards the left side. Start with the whole bottom of your foot on the mat. Maybe you start to walk those toes out a little bit more. And then walk your hands back. Start to lift your torso up. Bring your hands to your hips. Square your shoulders, square your pelvis forward, and then start to walk those left toes out a little bit more, but keep that entire foot on the mat. Try and get your right shoulder, right hip, right knee all in one line here. And then release your left arm down that left leg. Now raise the right arm up to the sky, right palm faces in. Take a nice deep inhale as you lengthen. And exhale, side bend over the left side this time. Keeping the bicep next to the ear. Again, shoulder square forward. It's easy to turn, but we're trying to keep those shoulders facing forward here. Now press down through the ball of that left big toe. Try and draw that left knee up into that left hip. Staying here for 2 breaths. You have the option to turn your neck to look up at those fingertips. 1 more breath here. Let's inhale back to center. Bring both arms overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down in front of you. Bring that left knee back underneath, back into your tabletop. And then in our tabletop, let's curl our toes under, lift our hips up and back. Let's come into our first down dog. Pedal out your feet just for a couple breaths here. In your down dog, make sure your hands are still shoulder width distance. Try and have your feet hips width distance. And now come to stillness in your down dog. Feet hips width distance, heels pressed back and down towards the mat. We'll move a little bit here by rising our heels. So have a slight bend in your knees, and then lift your heels up off the mat, pressing your toes down in the mat. So your heels are lifting up as much as you can in your down dog, opposite of what we typically have in our down dog by pressing our heels. And now release that by pressing the heels back and down. Come into your traditional down dog. So we're going to move back and forth in between the two. So we'll raise the heels up as high as we can, pressing the toes into the mat, nice and spread. And then release the heels back down. Let's do that 2 more times. So lifting the heels up, you're still pressing your chest back toward your thighs. And then release the heels, press them down towards the mat. 1 more time here, lifting the heels up, pressing the toes down with the toes nice and spread, and then releasing the heels down. So we'll stay here now in our traditional down dog just for a breath. And now we'll inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Stay in your forward fold. Knees can be slightly bent. And let's release
our arms, grab our opposite elbows, hang down in ragdoll pose here. So your ears are between your biceps, maybe your chest rests on your thigh, and if you like, you can gently sway from side to side. Keep a healthy bend in your knees here to make this more of a low back release rather than a hamstring stretch. We'll get to that. Then switch whichever forearm is on top, back and forth, swaying from side to side. And then come back to center, releasing the arms down. Now, we'll come up to standing, but we're going to add that bind behind our back. So we'll see how it feels in our forward fold. So again, have your knees slightly bent here if they're not already. And send your arms behind. So you have your different options for coming into what you've been practicing on. So you can either try and come into your reverse prayer pose here. You can place both knuckles together with your fists. You can clasp your fingers together, extend your arms down. You can grab your opposite elbows behind your back or place your hands to your low back. So lots of options. Either way, you're drawing your elbows in, drawing your shoulders away from your ears and down your back. So press down through your feet, keep the bind behind your back, and gently start to roll up, coming up to standing nice and slow. Stacking one vertebrae at a time, but still hugging those elbows in towards each other, softening the shoulders away from the ears. So you're still staying engaged here. Once you come up to standing, just release the bind of your arms and send your arms down by the sides, palms face forward. All right, you can roll your shoulders up and back a couple times, just to loosen them up, and then opposite direction, back and forward. All right, so we've warmed up the shoulders pretty good here. We've worked on our arm variations. It's time to work up the rest of the body, get our hamstrings and our quads ready for our pyramid pose. So, arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Try and draw your tailbone down, lift those frontal hip points up. Soften the shoulders away from the ears, chin is parallel with the mat. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, let's move. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, raise the arms out and up, overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, lift the arms out and up, overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Let's add on. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. This time stay low. Plant your palms under your shoulders, fingers forward, wrist back. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back in your plank pose. We're holding plank for 5 breaths here. You always have the option to drop your knees to the mat. Either way, keep your shoulders over your wrists and your heels are pressing back and down, just like in your down dog pose. Now, just like in our tabletop when we are lifting our legs, spin the inner thighs in and up towards the sky and broaden the shoulder blades, send them down your back. 2 more breaths here in your plank pose, really engaging the core, drawing the navel in and up. Draw the tailbone towards the heels for 1 more breath. And now everyone drop your knees down. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back and lower all the way to the mat, all in one piece. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat, press your feet down, press your hips down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Just for a breath here, release that tailbone down, heart forward. And exhale, release the forehead down. Curl the toes under, keep your knees down for now. Press up into your plank pose with your knees down. And then lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Let's stay in our down dog for 3 breaths. Pressing the heels back. Send the chest back towards the thighs. Lifting the hips up and back to where the wall meets the ceiling. Firming those triceps in. For 1 more breath here. And now let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, lift the arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, adding on to that little bit of series in our Sun A, make sure your feet are still at the top of your mat, hips width distance, heels behind the center toes, arms down to the side. Let's inhale as we raise the arms back up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Stay low, plant your palms down, keep your left foot forward, step your right leg back. Stay in your high lunge just for a moment here. Now, we'll drop our right heel down. Right toes are slightly forward of the right heel. And then walk your left toes over to the center of the mat so you have heel to arch alignment. Coming into warrior 2 feet. Bring your left arm to the inside edge, right arm to the sky. Press down through your feet and inhale, lift up into your warrior 2 pose. Arms up at shoulder height, extended out, palms face down. Make sure this left knee tracks over that left ankle and turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Let's inhale as we straighten the front leg, bring both arms overhead, palms face each other. Exhale back into your warrior 2. Inhale, straighten the legs, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. 1 more time. Make sure when you're bending that left knee, it tracks over the outside edge, that pinky side edge. So settle back into your warrior 2 here. Now, keep your arms just as they are. Hi, Oliver. Let's straighten that front leg. Try and lift both torsos up. Lift both hips up here. We're coming into our Trikonasana pose. So before we move, try and firm this outer left hip in. Press back through the outer right edge of that right foot. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. And now press down through that left big toe, drawing that left knee up into that hip, just like when we were in our gate pose on our knees. Now send the hips back towards that right leg, and then left arm and torso comes forward. When you can't move any farther forward, then you release your left arm down, either to the inside or outside edge of that shin. If you have a block, you can place it either on the inside or outside and place your hand on that. And then raise your right arm up to the sky, stacking the shoulders so the fingertips come right up to the ceiling. Now keep firming this outer left hip in, pressing back through that right outer foot, keeping you nice and stable. Really open the chest. Try to stack the shoulders. And again, keep pressing down through that left big toe. Try and draw this left kneecap up into that left hip. Let's stay here for 1 more breath. Now press down through the feet, slight bend in that front knee. Lift yourself back up, arms out wide, re-bend that front knee. Stay in your warrior 2. Gaze comes back over those left fingertips. Will come at a side angle. So now keep the low body just as it is. Send the left arm forward and release the left arm to the inside edge of that left thigh when you can't go any further. Right arm up to the sky, just like in Trikonasana or triangle pose. Shoulders stack, heart opens. Keep firming that left hip in, pressing back to the outer right edge of that right foot. Options here to release that left arm to the inside edge or the outside edge. Same thing, either block or to the mat. And we'll hold for 2 breaths. This time with our knee bent, we'll press down through that front heel. Keep opening the shoulders, staying for 1 more breath with the palm facing forward. And now stay low, release your right arm down. So come into your high lunge here. So we'll come up on that back heel. If you're using your block, just place it to the other side of your mat. And now start to walk your hands over to the right side, the long edge side of your mat. As you walk over and face the long edge side, your feet parallel. So you're now in a forward fold. We're coming up, so place your hands to the hips, slight bend in the knees, raise the torso up. All right, so we're adding our forward fold, and we'll add the option to have our arm bound, just as we've been practicing. So different options here in your forward fold. So same things. If you want to try in your reverse prayer pose, bring the palms together, or bring the fists together, clasping the fingers, grabbing the opposite elbows, or placing your hands on your low back. Whatever you're trying to switch either the clasp of your fingers, switch whichever form is on top. If you're doing that, every time we do this, try and switch it up. So choose what's going to work for you today. Maybe you're challenging yourself, or maybe you're going with something more comfortable. Before we forward fold, try and draw your tailbone down, lift those frontal hip points up. Let's inhale as we open our chest. Imagine there's a string at the center of your chest, drawing it up towards the sky. And on your exhale, start to hinge forward. Hug the legs in towards each other. Draw those kneecaps up. Really press down through the feet, all four sides. Once you get about halfway down, you can have a slight tuck of the chin, let your head hang heavy. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, maybe forward fold a little bit more. Just go to your capacity. Try and shift more weight forward into the toes, but keep your heels on the mat. Again, firm the legs in toward each other. Draw those kneecaps up, really engaging the quads. Staying here for 2 more breaths. Let that head hang heavy. 1 more breath. And now stay low. Just release your arms down so they're underneath your shoulders. Lift up halfway. Slight bend in the knees, and let's walk over to the right side of the mat, or I guess the back side of the mat now. So walk over towards your right foot, coming up into your high lunge. So now you're probably facing the back edge of your mat. Hopefully you can still see me, but if you want to turn towards the front, that's fine. We're coming back into our warrior two pose on our other side here. So we'll drop our left heel down, left toes are slightly forward, and then heel toe your right foot so you have heel to arch alignment from your front foot to your back foot. Right arm to the inside edge of that right knee, and then left arm up to the sky. Press down through your feet. Inhale, lift up into your warrior two. Settle into your warrior two here for a moment. Right knee tracks over that right ankle. Arms are up at shoulder height, palms face down. Turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. All right, let's inhale as we straighten the front leg. Bring both arms overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, re-bend warrior two. 3 more times, just like that. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, re-bend warrior two. Keep going. Again, remember when you bend that front knee, have the knee track over towards the outside edge, the pinky side edge of the foot. 1 more time here. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, warrior two. Settle into your warrior two here for a moment. Arms nice and long, soften the shoulders down, palms down. Really try and firm this outer right hip in, press back to that outer left edge of that foot. Now, keeping the arms just as they are, we'll straighten the front leg, lift both hips up towards the sky, firm this outer leg in, and start pressing down right now through that right big toe. Try and draw that right knee up into that right hip. And now shift the hips back towards that left leg, and then send your right arm and torso forward. When you can't go any further, release that right arm down either to your shin, inside or outside, or if you have your block, which I moved, you can place your hand on your block as well. Left arm up to the sky, palm facing forward. Try and stack the shoulders, really opening and broadening the collarbones here. Really firm this outer right hip in, pressing back to that outer left edge. Pressing down through that right big toe again, trying to draw that right kneecap up towards your right hip. Staying for 1 more breath here. And now slight bend in that front knee, lifting yourself back up, warrior two, full bend in that right knee. Now coming into our side angle. We'll send the right arm forward, torso comes with it. And you can't go any further, release the right arm to the inside edge of that right thigh. Left arm up to the sky, left palm faces forward. Option here to stay where you are with your left arm resting, or you can release that right with your right arm resting, or you can release your right arm to the inside edge, the outside edge, either to the mat or to a block, fingertips or palm. Either way, stacking the shoulders. Again, firming that right hip in. It always wants to fall out. Pressing back to that outer edge of that left foot. Maybe the gaze comes up towards the fingertips, the palm facing forward. Stay for 1 more breath. And now stay low again. Release that left arm back down. Come into your high lunge, coming up on that back heel. Send your block off to the side. And send your front foot to meet your back foot. You're in your plank pose. We're holding for 3 breaths here. Watch out if you have any cattails in the way. Always have the option to drop down to your knees. Keep hugging that navel in and up, drawing the tailbone down towards your heels. One more breath here. And now everyone drop your knees down. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the mat. Forehead to the mat, tops of the feet to the mat. Press your feet down, inhale, lift up into your baby cobra. Heart forward, chest forward, tailbone draws back. And now exhale, release. Forehead down, curl the toes under. We're pressing up into down dog. You can come straight into down dog as you press up, or come through your plank with your knees down first. Your option. Just meet me in your down dog and stay for 3 breaths. So again, I apologize if you're facing the back edge side of your mat, but don't worry, we'll turn around. Keep pressing the chest back towards the thighs. One more breath here. And now inhale as you gaze forward. Bend your knees, walk your hands back towards your feet. So your feet are staying at the top of your mat, walking your hands back. So you're in your forward fold at the top of your mat, and let's just do a 180 here. So we'll turn around so we're facing the front edge of your mat. I did this earlier this week. I thought this was pretty clever to get back towards the top of our mat. All right, now let's lift up halfway. Inhale, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet, come back up to stand. Inhale, raise the arms out and up, overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides, palms face forward. Take a nice deep inhale here. And exhale. All right, so hopefully you're back at the top of your mat. If you're not, come join me back at the top. Bring your big toes to touch, this time heels slightly separated. So we're coming back into our mountain pose. This time our feet are touching. Release the arms down to the sides. Again, draw that tailbone down, lift those frontal hip points up. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, coming into our chair pose. So send the knees forward, send the hips back, arms come forward as well. Biceps are next to the ears. Make sure you can gaze down and see your toes. If your knees are in the way, try and shift your hips back a little more. We'll add a twist here. So bring your hands to the center of your chest. Stay in your chair pose. We'll inhale as we lengthen through the spine. And exhale, twist to your right. Keep your low body just as it is. Twist and turn from the navel up. You can stay up here, or if you want, release the outside edge of that left elbow to the right knee. Again, try and stack the shoulders. Draw that right shoulder back. Draw that left hip back. Most likely it came forward. Gaze comes up towards the sky. Stay for one more breath. And release back into your chair pose with your hands at the center. Coming to the other side, inhale, lengthen your spine first, and exhale, twist from the navel up, turn to your left this time. Same options, you can stay up here, or you can release the right elbow to that left knee, draw that right hip back, draw the left shoulder back, stacking the shoulders, maybe the gaze comes up towards the sky, staying for one more breath, and exhale, gently release back to center, and exhale all the way down into your forward fold, releasing here. Let's just stay for a breath here in our forward fold. And now place your hands at your shins. Inhale, lift up halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Now place both palms down, shoulder width distance. Keep your left foot forward, step your right leg back. Now drop your right knee to the mat. Keep your left knee over that left ankle. If you have your blocks, this is where they might come in handy again also. So if you have your blocks, just place them to either side of that left foot. Make sure your left foot is on the left side of the mat, right foot is on the right side. And make sure this right knee is behind your right hip. So we don't want it right underneath like in tabletop, we want it farther behind. But keep that right toe curled under. Now, we're sending our hip back over our knee. So on your exhale, start to shift your hips back, straightening that front leg, and your hips come back only so far that they're over that back knee. Don't send them any farther back, just over that back knee. As your front leg straightens, the toes start to flex and come back towards your face. You can use your blocks if you need to walk back. Just try and keep your chest forward, your spine nice and long. And then on your inhale, come back forward where we started, left knee over left ankle. We'll do that 3 more times. So exhale as you shift back, hips over knee, flexing and straightening that front foot, drawing the toes back. And then inhale, coming forward, back into your low lunge with your knees down. So 2 more times just like that. Again, if you don't have your blocks, just walk your fingertips or your hands back. Just try and keep your chest up as much as you can. And then coming forward, left knee comes back over that left ankle. Let's do this 1 more time. Shift our hips back. Again, don't go any further than your hips on top of your knee. And then come back, knee on top of the ankle. Keep your blocks up at the top, but just place them off your mat with the right toe curled under. Lift that right knee up and back. Send the left foot to meet the right foot. We'll lower, keep your knees down or up as you shift forward. Bend the elbows and lower all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet come to the mat. Press your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift up into your baby cobra. Send the heart forward. Draw the elbows in. Release the tailbone down. And exhale, release the forehead back down. Curl the toes under. Press up into your down dog. Come through plank first with your knees down if you need to. Stay for a couple deep breaths in your down dog. Got Oliver taking up half the mat over here. Just gonna have to make do with what I got. Stay for one more breath in your down dog. And let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Keep your big toes touching, heels slightly separated. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Stay in your forward fold. Plant your palms down again. Keep your right foot forward. Step your left leg back. So we're switching to the opposite side. Now drop your left knee down. Keep those left toes curled. Remember our starting position with the right knee over the right ankle. Make sure that left knee is back behind your hip to start. Now use your blocks or your fingertips to exhale as you shift your hips back. Start to straighten that front leg, drawing the right toes off the mat. And then inhale as you come forward, right knee over right ankle. Let's do that 3 more times. So shifting back, hips over knee, flexing the front foot, straightening that leg, and then send yourself forward, right knee back over that right ankle. 2 more times here. Oliver's all over my foot here. Shifting forward, knee over ankle. 1 more time, shifting back. And then coming back forward, knee over ankle. Again, place your blocks off to the sides of your mat. Keep them up at the top. Release both arms down, shoulder height. Curl the left toes under. Lift that left knee up. Send the right foot to meet the back foot in your plank pose. Again, knees down or up as you shift forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet to the mat. Press your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Draw the elbows in, heart forward, tailbone down. Exhale, release the forehead back down. Curl the toes under. Press your hands into the mat. Inhale, lift up into your down dog. Come through plank first if you need to. Again, 3 more breaths in your down dog here. Is anyone else trying to make do with any kids or pets around? Some days it's easier than others. They're just making a nice little fun challenge. I guess this is a level 2 challenge, so Oliver's making it tough. All right, 1 more breath in your down dog. And let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Big toes touch, heels separate. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the shins, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold, knees bend. Come back into our chair pose, so keep your knees bent, hips back, arms forward, palms face each other. And now exhale, hands down to the center, straighten the legs, come back up to standing. Release your arms down to the sides, palms face forward. All right, so before we move into our last series, we'll be working right on our pyramid pose, trying to put all the pieces together. While we're standing here, let's just go over the arm variations again behind our back. So if you're going for the full prayer pose, again, arms draw behind your back, palms face each other. So it's a reverse prayer with your thumbs back and your pinkies on your lower back. Again, you're internally rotating your arms as the position, but the action, you still want to open your chest here. And if that's not accessible, you can bring your fist together, or you can clasp your fingers together, grabbing opposite elbows or hands to the low back with the fingers facing down. Adding a forward fold here for just a moment. So take a nice deep inhale as you raise your chest up, draw your tailbone down. Keep whatever bind you have, and exhale as you hinge forward. Try to keep your legs nice and straight. You can have a slight bend in your knees if you need to, but hinge forward just to your capacity while you keep that bind, whatever you're working on. Try and draw the shoulders away from the ears, elbows in, straightening the arms, lifting the arms up off your back if you can, or just holding your pose. Just stay for one more breath. And now gently start to lift yourself back up to standing and release the arms behind you. All right. Release the arms back down to the sides. Make sure you're still at the top of your mat. Big toes touch, heels separate. Here we go. Let's inhale as we come into our chair pose. Knees bend, hips back, arms forward, palms face each other. Exhale as you forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. So plant your palms, keep your left foot forward, step your right leg back. Keep your right knee up off the mat, stay in your high lunge, press your feet down into the mat, and inhale, lift your arms forward and up overhead. So come into your high crescent lunge to start. Now we'll start to straighten and bend that front leg. So inhale as you straighten the front leg, exhale, rebend. 3 more times, just like that. So inhale as we straighten, exhale, bend. Keep going on your breath. If you feel like you're a little too wobbly here, you can separate your feet out a little bit wider to give you a little more stability. Straighten one last time, and then rebend. Now let's straighten that front leg and keep both legs straight this time. Notice your back heel. It might be coming up off the mat, or you might be pressing your heel back down on the mat. Those 2 options are fine for pyramid pose. You can play around with either one. Let's release our arms behind our back. Here we go. So we're taking that arm variation that we've been practicing. So maybe you're coming into the full reverse prayer, or maybe you're just resting your hands on your low back. Either way, draw the tailbone down, lift those frontal hip points up. Open the chest. Imagine there's a string at the center of your chest, raising it up towards the sky. So take an inhale as you add a slight back bend. And now exhale, we'll start to hinge forward, forward fold. So we keep both legs straight. Draw the left hip back and the right hip forward to keep the shoulders and the pelvis squared forward. Maybe if you lower about halfway, you can slightly tuck your chin, releasing your head down. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, forward fold a little more. So keep pressing that left big toe in the mat. Draw that left kneecap up in toward your left hip, just like we've been practicing. And again, you can come up on that right heel, or you can press that right heel back and down. We're here for one more breath. And now slight bend in the front knee as you lift yourself back up. Full bend, releasing the arms, come back into your high lunge with that front knee bent. Raise the arms up overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hinge forward, release both arms down to the mat, low lunge. Step the left foot to meet the back foot. Knees down or up as you shift forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet to the mat, press your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift up into your baby cobra. Exhale, release the forehead down, curl the toes under, press up into your down dog. Come through tabletop or plank with your knees down first if you need to. Let's go right to the other side. We'll come to the top first. So inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Big toes touch, heels separate. Inhale, lift up halfway. Nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. So we'll stay low. Plant your arms to the mat. Right foot forward. Step your left leg back this time. Again, separate your feet to where you think you need to be. Press down through your feet. Inhale, lift the arms up, torso up. Have that right knee start by tracking over that right ankle. And then we'll bend and straighten. So inhale as you straighten that front leg. Exhale, rebend. 3 more times. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, rebend. 2 more times. Again, if you need a little more stability, you can separate your legs. Just keep your hips and your pelvis facing forward. Straightening one last time. And then rebend. Okay, fully straighten that front leg. Back leg is straight as well. We'll add our arms. So take the bind behind your back. If you've been crossing your forearms or your fingers, you can clasp opposite one, opposite forearm or finger on top. Just come into your variation. Draw your tailbone down with the frontal hip points up. Open up your chest. Again, imagine a string is at the center, drawing it up towards the sky. Take a nice deep inhale as you add a slight back bend. And then exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Again, front leg is straight. Press that right big toe into the mat. Draw that right kneecap up.
Draw the right hip back and the left hip forward, keeping the shoulders and the pelvis squared forward. If you've lowered about halfway, you can slightly tuck your chin, let your head hang heavy. Again, keep pressing into the ball of that right big toe. Left heel may be lifting, or it might be pressing down towards the mat. Just play around with it, see which one you like. We're here for 2 more breaths. Keep opening the chest, sending the heart forward. And right hip back, left hip forward. 1 more breath. Now slight bend in the knee, lift yourself back up. Full bend in that front knee. Releasing the arms down to the sides, arms back up overhead in your high lunge, front knee bent. And exhale, arms forward and down to either side of that right foot. Let's send the right foot to meet the back foot. Drop your knees down, tops of the feet to the mat, big toes touch. Send your hips back toward your heels. Let's come into our child's pose. Whew, we deserve a rest after all of that. Releasing the forehead down, your arms can extend straight out, or if you want to bring your arms back by your ankles, palms face up. Just take 2 or 3 nice, slow, deep breaths here. One more nice, slow, deep breath. All right, extend your arms out in front of you. Keep them nice and long. Lift your hips up off your heels, but keep your forehead low. You can keep it, um, what we're coming into is puppy pose. So lifting your hips up so they're stacking on top of your knees. Keep the tops of your feet to the mat, but separate your knees and your feet to hips with distance. Now again, keeping your hips tracking on top of your knees, start to walk your hands out as your chest lowers towards the mat. Now you can lower your forehead to the mat, or you can lower your chin to the mat, or maybe your chest comes to the mat if you're a little more flexible. In this puppy pose, it's kind of a variation between a tabletop on our forearms and a down dog. It's kind of an in-between. It should be a nice back bend. Shouldn't be any pain here. Should open the shoulders and a slight little back bend. So again, the idea here is to keep the hips over the knees. You're resting either your forehead or your chin or your chest on the mat. Just stay here for 2 more breaths. Last breath here. And then walk your hands back in, lifting your forehead back up. Come back into tabletop and then send your knees off to the side. Send your legs out in front of you, come into a seat. All right, with your legs nice and long out in front of you, have your knees slightly bent. We'll add a twist here. So again, feet are hips width distance and both toes are flexed coming back toward your face. Let's bend the right knee into our chest. Place the bottom of the right foot on the mat. Now, take your left arm and place it on the outside edge of that right foot. Keep your pelvis and your shoulders still squared towards the top edge of your mat, and then start to straighten that right leg, still grabbing the outside of the right foot with your left hand. So the left arm is coming across to the outside edge of that right foot. Now adding a twist. Let's extend the right arm back, shoulder height, palm faces away, twist and turn from the navel up, so your shoulders are now square with the long edge side of your mat. Now you can turn your neck if you'd like to look over those right fingertips. Keep pressing that bottom of the right foot in toward your left hand. Nice long spine here. Stay for 1 more breath. And exhale, gently release back to center. And gently release the foot back down. Both arms to the sides. Re-extend that right leg long. We'll come to the other side. So now we'll bend the left knee into our chest. Bottom of the foot comes to the mat. This time the right arm comes to the outside edge of that left foot. Start to straighten that left leg straight forward. And then open your chest, sending the left arm behind, palm faces away. So now your pelvis is squared to the front edge of your mat, but your shoulders are squared to the long edge side of your mat. That's our twist here. Palm faces away. So we inhale as we lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist. Stay for 1 more breath here. Inhale as you lengthen. And exhale, twist. All right, gently bring yourself back to center.
Releasing that left foot down, both arms to the side. Now use your arms with your knees bent to shift your hips forward, and then we'll lower onto our backs. So you can hold onto your shins or your thighs with your arms forward. Just gently lower onto your backs. Release your arms down to the side. We'll come into our bridge pose. So with your knees bent, walk your heels underneath your knees. Feet and knees are hips width distance. Palms down to the sides, pressing down. Press your feet into the mat, and on your inhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up towards the sky. Try to spin your inner thighs in and down towards the mat to keep your knees hips width distance. They always want to separate out. Try and draw your tailbone down towards the backs of your knees, creating a nice long spine here. Maybe you lift a little bit higher, sending your chin away from your chest and your chest toward your chin. One more breath here. And exhale, gently lower from the top of your spine, middle of the back, low back, last to arrive. Stay for a moment here. We'll have one more bridge pose. You can repeat that, or if you want to add a bind behind your back, you can. Options for bind will be clasp your fingers behind your back or grab opposite elbows behind your back. So choose one of those or just repeat what we just did. So arms down to the side, press your feet down into the mat, and on your inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up towards the sky. Keep spinning those inner thighs in and down. And you can stay here, or if you want, roll your triceps under and clasp either your fingers together or grab opposite elbows. If your fingers are clasped, try to draw the pinky side edge down towards the mat with your arms nice and straight. Really press the triceps down. Keep drawing that tailbone down towards the back of the knees. Stay for one more breath. And then everyone gently release the clasp of your arms if you have it and roll down from the top of your spine. Low back, last to arrive. Let's let the knees fall into touch. Feet out to the width of the mat. And then let your knees gently rock from side to side. This is always a good stretch. This is called constructive rest with our knees moving here. This is always a good stretch after any kind of back bend. Also, if you're ever feeling any low back pain from sitting too much or whatnot, you can always come on the floor and just do this stretch. So you have your knees in and your feet out to the width of the mat. All right, let's come back to center with our knees touching. And let's heel toe the feet back to hips width distance, and then separate the knees back to hips width distance. Drawing the knees back into your chest this time, wrapping your hands around your shins. Give a nice little squeeze here. And we'll come into happy baby pose. So let's separate the knees out wide, and then bring the bottoms of the feet so they face up towards the sky. Options for your arms to either grab the outsides of your thighs, outsides of your shins. If you grab the outsides of your feet, have your elbows to the insides of your knees. Either option you choose, try and draw that tailbone down so your low back comes as close to the mat as you can. Idea here is to draw the knees, the bottoms of the feet closer to the mat. If you like to rock from side to side, you can do that, massaging your low back a little bit. Just be careful, you might get stuck on one side. That's okay. You can always come back to center. And then ease up and come back to center. Releasing the feet or the legs, bring the knees back into center. Knees touch, feet touch. Arms wrap around the shins, draw the knees in. Lift the forehead up, back of the head and shoulders come off the mat, come into an egg shape. One last little squeeze here. So squeeze everything in together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And exhale, release. Extend the legs long, extend the arms long overhead. We'll point the toes away from the body, extend the fingertips away from the body, and one last full body stretch, stretch everything, stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, release. Send the arms down to the sides, palms face up. Let the legs be nice and long, and the knees and the feet fall out to the side. Begin to settle into your final pose of your practice today, your Shavasana pose.
This is a time to release and a time to trust. Trust yourself that whatever you needed to do for practice today, you did. You showed up, you moved, you breathed, and you got through it. Your job is done now. It's time to let gravity take over and just help to ease your body into your mat. Just release any last little bit of tension in your body, maybe releasing your toes or your legs, letting your shoulders be heavy, unclasping the jaw. If the tongue is at the roof of the mouth, you can release that. You can soften your brow line. Finally, just release any last little bit of control over your breath. Just be here. And just begin to bring some awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. And switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath on your back. And now begin to bend your knees as you roll over to one side of your body. Let your top arm rest on your bottom arm, top knee rest on your bottom knee. And stay for a breath here on your side. And now try to keep your eyes softened or your gaze closed as you use your top arm to press yourself up into a comfortable cross-legged seat to complete your practice today. In your comfortable seat, you can rest your palms on tops of your knees. Palms can face up, or you can bring your hands into the center of your chest. Let's all take a nice deep inhale in together. Through the mouth, exhale. Thank you all so much for joining me in your practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me on this Friday evening for our level 2 class. Hope you enjoyed. This was nice. I know I went over a couple minutes, but I just feel like sometimes there's just so much to cover in, in the class, just trying to get us all warmed up and ready for our peak pose or whatever we're working towards. So I apologize for going over a little bit. Also, the YouTube changed the way they kind of advertise their the classes. So I don't know if anyone's having any trouble accessing the class when it first gets started, just let me know. But I think I got things back to the way they were. Oh, hi Diana, thank you for checking in. Oh, nice. Good to see you again today. Um, and Lori and Ellen, thank you for checking in. And everyone else, just thank you for joining me. It always feels good to get in a nice, good practice on a Friday. I feel like got my workout in for the weekend, mind and body. Um, so yeah, so take however you feel now and take it into the weekend. I hope you all enjoy. If you ever have any questions, let me know. You can send it in the chat. Comments on the video or in the description is more info to contact me. If you'd like to donate, that link is in the description as well to help find out more information or send funds or whatnot to help racial and social justice. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. So enjoy your weekend. Again, my name is Daniel. I don't know where the cats are. Well, Coney's over here. Maybe he wants to say hi. Coney? Coney? Oh, he is sleeping. Sorry, I cannot. Do you want to say hi? Oh, he's out. Out like a light. I think they both made an appearance earlier. So next class will be Tuesday. We're on Tuesdays now for fundamentals. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern will be our next class. So I will see you all then or next time in practice. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate all the feedback you all give me and just for showing up. So thanks again. My name is Daniel with Daniel Lee Yoga. See you next time. Peace.